Hello, everyone. August the 2nd. August already. Unbelievable. 2024. Samuel Arms with me in the house, my political genius.
What is going on?
You dragged me fully into you dragged me into politics. I'm going to hold you forever responsible.
Is it? Hopefully it's more fun than it is miserable.
Well, you probably didn't hear my opening, did you? Because I was on mute.
No, No, I didn't hear anything.
Oh, well, I said good morning to everyone. August the 2nd, 2024. Welcome to the Friday edition of our little live show that I've been talked into doing every day. Welcome, everybody. It's been awesome. It's been a very productive 2 weeks. I have about 5 days of work to do, dude. Yeah. From just the Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, because then Monday and Tuesday, when I came back, I had the express pleasure of sitting in a 10-hour deposition. It was so much fun from one of the dumbest lawyers I've ever met in my life. And if you're listening to this, you're dumb as a bag of rocks, dude. You should come prepared next time. And you can actually add that to my deposition. Whoever hired you, dude, they wasted so much money. It's unbelievable.
How do you do you get used to being grilled by attorneys after a while? Like, is that just a part of the entrepreneurial or business life? You just kind of get used to this stuff, or is it always like manic a little bit?
The funny thing is, I have been clean for so long that I have never had any of this shit happen to me until I got involved with that crazy woman.
Really?
And then all of a sudden, oh my God, dude, it's 4 months into it. I knew I had so many indicators. This is one of the reasons I tell people that the investing in private equity businesses is so dangerous and so risky. All you need is one redhead or blonde meets that CEO on a Saturday night, dude, and the guy could be a genius, but everything can go off kilter. Within 4 months of me being involved with this person, first off, when she said she needed to use my credit cards because she didn't have any, I should have run a million miles away. Okay. I look back at it now and I'm like, hey, I think I might have been targeted. Actually. Then 4 or 5 months later, for the first time in my life, I have somebody show up and file a arbitration suit against me.
What is that?
Arbitration is when you agree to have a middle supposedly neutral party was far from neutral. Instead of going legal, you go through an arbitrator. And I'm like, hey, why am I in this? Because I've never, ever been in any of these. I mean, I might go to a deposition for a corporate, right? Hey, this is what happened. Enron went broke, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, the cool thing is I went through something about 3 years ago, to answer your question, that was so intense. I got an MBA in law. And my investment banker told me too, he said, dude, you're going to get an MBA in law. So now I can go into a deposition. Just robust, which is really cool, dude. Like you can sit there, people can ask questions and you can go, right, yep, this is the answer. And you can do what you want with it, but I didn't do anything wrong. So
I know we're off topic and we'll get back on.
Way off topic.
But I do want to ask you though, does an experience like this, what have you learned about our legal system? Because I feel like some of these experiences, it's one thing to see in the news what goes on in our legal system, but then to experience it, like what's a big takeaway that you've been like, wow, like this is different to experience as opposed to just reading about it?
Well, for instance, I have never met Caitlin Long before of Custodia Bank, and I saw her I think Thursday. Interesting. I spent probably 18 months trying to sit down with her and never could. Here we are. We sit on the same couch. We spend 30 minutes before she does an interview with Kennedy. What they're doing to that woman is like literally she will have to liquidate her whole position just to pay her legal bills. I mean, it's really, really sad. Here's a good company coming up with a good idea, and they're just dragging her through the system, through the bureaucracy of legal questions, constant questions, more hurdles to jump over.
Because they know they can outlast you.
By the time she gets approved, there'll be 5 other companies that have basically sucked out all the big margin in the market. She's a first mover and she's being stopped. I don't know her very well, but I think that when we have American exceptionalism and people like that, she is an animal, dude. Like she is a good example of what a woman executive is. If we're going to go do the sex thing, she's a powerhouse, works her ass off, and she's being blocked by a bunch of men. It's not cool, dude. I wouldn't block her. Bring her in. We need competition. Competition is so good for this country. We excel when we're a little behind. Like we like that. Come back and recover. Well, we only have 9% of the Bitcoin market. I suggest that Americans get on top of this and decide they want 20 or 25 of it.
Yeah.
There's great innovations coming out of this. Why we would block this? It's really sad because they support some, but they won't support others. And I think supporting a Facebook is far more valuable than us actually supporting other leaders who are trying to build businesses that don't have a monopoly position. I don't get it. So, but it seems like everything is upside down right now. Just, it's all seems upside down to me.
Yeah. Tragic. I've been following her story for a while. And it's like they pick someone to punish regardless of whether it's fair or not. And she's been really brave and really being good at pushing back to the extent of what I see in the news and on Twitter. It seems like she's really putting up a good fight, which I have a lot of appreciation for.
Yeah. Well, Friday may be a slow day for news, right? We got only less than 300 people here. If you guys could retweet or advertise the space, that'd be awesome. Hard to get excited about doing this for 300 people.
But I had a question for you based on something you said yesterday, and you've brought it up a few times, but I wanted to dive deeper into this idea of peak consumption and what exactly that means, because that's a term that I don't hear on mainstream news or even mainstream economists talk about too much. To me, it's actually a very unique term. So I wanted you to dive deeper on that because we had talked about it in relation to energy. We've talked about it in relation to Bitcoin. So I wanted to kind of start with what is peak consumption to you and how does that apply to different markets, and maybe relate that to what you saw in energy and then talk about it in terms of Bitcoin.
Yeah. So there was a guy named Daniel Yergin who became very famous. I'm going to try to pull up some information on. And he basically wrote a book called The Epic Quest for Oil, Money, and Power. I think he wrote, let me just see. He wrote 4 books. And these books he became extremely famous and met with every major sovereign, prime minister, king, prince, president, vice president in the world. Okay. He became very famous in the 90s on peak oil, and said that all the peak oil, all the energy in the world, all the cheap energy has been found. And in order for us to go to the next level, we would have to pay an accelerated price for energy. That has not happened. He said that in 2002 we would be near or at peak oil. He wrote a book called The Prize. In fact, if I could put this up here,
What was his? Do you know what his logic was? His logic was that we've discovered all the cheap energy and we'd have to put more resources and oil would just be more expensive.
Yeah, no, he had all the geology reports, dude. He was working with the International Energy Petroleum, whatever that is, the IEAP or something.
Yeah.
And he had all this data on geology. I mean, he had geology from Saudi Arabia, from America, from everywhere, every basin. I mean, he did massive amounts of work. I think Simon and Schuster were his publishers. My point is, he didn't get it right, even though every prime minister of every major oil company in the country paid him. We have not seen peak oil, and therefore, I look at it and go, all that money spent, all that time meeting with Exxon, Conoco, and Shell, Saudi Aramco. And what do we have? We have no peak supply. We might have peak demand. And as I have looked at the luxury watch market, the jet market, where people buy and charter jets, I've looked at the the art market. All these prices are coming down right now. The Rolex watch market, the luxury watch market. You wonder what this has to do with? Well, what if we start seeing prices come down? And I say jets, private jets and chartered jets are really an awesome indicator of when you've had your getting ready to move into a recession. Is when you see the decline of usage of hours and more products come on the market for sale, both in terms of aircraft and also in terms of availability of charter flights. The other thing is look at luxury anything. Okay, I see luxury watches that have been on an absolute scream for the last 8 years. They've come well off their highs. And so my case is that instead of having peak energy, what we have today is actually peak demand. I don't need a new house. I don't need another car. I don't need another plane. I don't need, or can I maintain another girlfriend, wife, or mistress? I don't need another villa. I mean, these are very expensive to maintain, both in money, but also attention units. As you get to be 50, 60 years old, you become really wealthy. Why would you want to deal with a bunch of shit? Noise, problems. I mean, just the yard issue that I've had to deal with in the last 2 months.
Is peak demand the same as peak consumption? Is that the same concept?
Yes. We're just choking on shit, right?
So what does that mean though? So if you're saying we're choking on stuff, that means like we've exhausted the amount. Have we exhausted the amount of income that we can use? Or we have so much income we can't buy anything else?
Well, I think that what I'm saying is I don't think Billy Bob actually sets the market. I think it's the very top of the market that sets the market. So I am talking about the top 10% of the planet. It is those people that are at peak consumption. And it is those people that drive market. So I'm just saying, I don't think anyone's going to have another allocation to Nvidia, another allocation to equities, another allocation to, I mean, they may have different allocations to equities, but I suspect they're going to move from IBM to some other stock, maybe Coinbase or something. I think they have all the watches they need, all the homes they need, all the lawyers they need, all the private equity businesses, all the real estate, dude, corporate, commercial, and resi. Probably even have all the land they need. They probably got enough gold, silver, and cash sitting in their vaults in their homes. I mean, how much more property can you buy in Chelsea to hide your money from a sovereign into London, right? How many South Americans, Chinese, South Koreans, Russians, oligarchs, how much more property can they buy in London to hide from their king? That's getting pretty saturated. I think that's actually at saturation level. And you have then all the massive mutual funds and investment banks that are chocked full of real estate at every level and equities at every level. So I look at Bitcoin and I go, wow, that's the only thing on this planet the super wealthy don't have. This is my case for Bitcoin. It's so uncomplicated. The allocation to super wealthy people, first off, the allocation of Bitcoin across the planet is less than 0.5%. Okay, it's going to 3 to 5, but right now it's at 0.5%. And so when I see something like Bitcoin, I'm like, this is the only thing a guy like my brother doesn't have. Okay, now he'll spend an equivalent of 1,000 Bitcoin on an airplane. In fact, Grant bought an airplane 4 years ago, probably cost him 4,000 Bitcoin. Okay, 4,000 Bitcoin. What is that worth today? $250 million?
Yeah.
Okay, and there were 6,050 $1 million jets sold in the last 3 or 4 years. Each one of them are worth 1,000 Bitcoin. These people trade these planes every 3 or 4 years because they want the new one. So I don't think people understand, one, how much money there is trapped in this 10% and how much of that's already allocated to almost every investment vehicle available from the 20th century. And that's my bull case for Bitcoin.
So with peak oil, the argument was that all the cheap oil was gone and that we hit the max amount of supply. But technology obviously solved that problem, right?
Well, he didn't say that we wouldn't find any more oil. What he said was, hey, the next piece might be $200, right? I mean, we'll always be able to find it. Is it price sensitive? Now, funny enough, because this whole Bitcoin revolution, I think we're going to find that energy prices are going to collapse further. I would predict in 2 or 3 years, crude oil will be $50-$60, and that's going to be the number. And that nat gas is going to be $2, and not much more. And that we may even see dislocations of some energy that used to find its way into the market that now is not finding its way to hubs. It's actually being harvested at the wellhead. This is a massive shift change for energy, that you could create demand at the wellhead is a monster move, and it will unlock, I suspect, 20% on top of what we already have. So if we're selling 118 billion cubic feet every day in this country, I think you're going to have another 20 billion cubic feet. Imagine that, dude. 20 billion cubic feet a day, priced at $1, that can mine Bitcoin.
Is it fair to say it's technology that made Jurgen wrong?
Yes. And I think he did not understand max consumption. But technology, everyone's getting wrong, dude. So his whole thesis, even he wrote another book after the fracking came about, and he suggested, and I might be wrong on this. Are you still in space or just me? Looks like
I'm
it's
here.
just really.
Yeah. Why did yours? Is it acting up?
No, I just see me. I don't know why. But when they started fracking, he even built the case that it would accelerate the peak supply. That is not. None of this has happened. None of this has happened.
So, is Bitcoin the same technological solution for peak demand? Would that be the argument? Like, does Bitcoin grow because peak demand or peak consumption exists? Is it the solution, or does something that's finite actually exacerbate the problem of peak consumption?
You may have gone off track on your question. I'm not sure what you're asking. I think, look, oil producers produce oil. Guys that drill holes in the ground, drill holes in the ground. Bitcoin miners are going to mine Bitcoin. So someone had to teach me this one day. They're like, dude, the guy studies petroleum engineering for 4 to 8 years of his life. He knows how to drill holes in the ground. He doesn't consider price. He's drilling, dude. They're going to drill. And the cool thing is when price goes down, people want to keep doing the shit they know how to do. And they learn how to do it better, faster, and cheaper. And I think that will happen. It's called, look, the variable cost of everything goes next to zero over time. The variable cost of everything. So it should not be surprising to people that we should have a massive deflationary event here. Like we could thread the window here. If America actually gets out of its own way, we could thread the needle here. It's going to take a very robust program. Drill, baby, drill is absolutely right. See what he's doing, what Trump's doing by these very simple messages. He basically said, unleash the animal spirits of commerciality. Okay, there's tremendous innovation if you let these capitalists go wild, right, and really build. Not build like FTX, okay, that was a destruction, but let people build, compete, and we're going to be a great country. And all these machinations being played by all these agencies is not helping innovation. You just stop picking winners and losers, man. Let guys like me build businesses and compete, and let's make sure the regulators are looking at every player equally, fairly, in the same manner. To me, I don't know why we want to stop so much innovation. We're literally giving all the treasures to other people to mine. By mine, I mean just focus on and work at. So I don't think this is very complicated. We're not going to control these markets anymore. It's over. We're going to have competition.
What would cause the deflationary event? And I assume you're talking about the dollar gaining in value. Am I understanding?
No, I'm talking about the cost of everything going down. See, if you guys would just look at your balance sheets this weekend, look at your checking accounts and go down that checking account or payment account, whatever you use, and ask yourself, this guy I'm sending money to, Walmart, this guy that I'm Costco, this Publix, Netflix, are they my enemy or are they helping America? If they're not helping you in America and you don't believe in what they do, I'd stop spending money with them. Take that money, then go buy Bitcoin. You just save some money. You no longer were putting fuel. Y'all laugh at me for for Trump, giving 12.8 Bitcoin to Trump. Dude, at least I picked the gas station I was going to stop at and fill into. Like I'm okay giving him the money, okay? I'm not okay giving Reid Hoffman shit, okay? Like this has to stop, man. That you have somebody just feeding us a bunch of woke television from Disney that seems not it's helping anyone. I do not see any of this stuff helping anyone become bigger, better, and stronger. So that's what I mean. Stop fueling the people that are literally destroying the world that we live in. And if we do that, they will have less money to fight us with. They'll have less money to hire all the lobbyists. Dude, these people, they work on quarterly earnings. If 10% of us did this to Netflix, their fucking stock price would drop 20%. Clip. Stop spending money with Visa and MasterCard, dude. They're ripping your face off. Right? Like if you can do a transaction in Bitcoin that saves you $35 in wire transfers, I might do that, dude, as long as I could replicate my Bitcoin hey, by the way, all this volatility, I sold my Bitcoin to Trump at 66. I can now rebuy it at 62. This looks like it might be a winner. This is the value of volatility. All I got to wait. Okay, those 12.8, I want them back at a cheaper price. My weighted average cost is going to go down because of this contribution. And by the way, it's one thing I believe in. It's good karma. If they use and abuse that 12.8 billion BTC, it is not my job. I won't get upset with it. I have given that away. They can do whatever. They can wipe their face with it. Okay, it's not mine anymore. I do believe, though, on my side, it's awesome for karma. If you believe in karma, some people don't believe in it. I believe I came to this planet with a fucking shitload of karma. Dude. I really do. I believe that the day I was born, I came in with a bag of karma, and I'm not going to give 1 gram away because I think it's actually the thing that has allowed me to be successful and lucky. And I actually say it like lucky and successful and lucky, whatever. But I think the karma would be the only thing that would explain my lottery ticket. Really. I feel like I got a lottery ticket compared to most people.
I saw on Twitter, someone said, the harder you work, the luckier you get. I was like, oh, that's true.
Oh, dude, luck. It's amazing how fast luck shows up when you work hard. I think you're more aware of it. If you're working really hard, I think you start to. I had a man once tell me, he said, hey, you know, the guy that gives up, man, if he had just walked 3 more steps, there was a guy sitting at the corner, some old man, some gift, some dog, something. You just needed to go 9 steps more. And God, angel, fairy, whatever, the solution was right there. The other thing is, I run into people sometimes that are the solution to a problem I have, and I disregard them because they don't look the way I thought they were supposed to look to help me. I have learned to listen to everyone. And you know, I talk to a lot of people. You're probably looking and going, dude, that's a waste of time. Why would you spend 30 minutes with that guy? But as you'll see that over time, oh wow, one, I got more information from than anyone across a very, very broad landscape because I'm not closed. And I'm putting all these little tiny pieces together, right? It's like putting a puzzle together. And the more people you meet, the more the puzzle comes together. You start thinking about how people think, how they respond. That's what this service has been so valuable to me. Dude, I have learned so much about people in the last year. And I thought I kind of understood people, but I'm seeing it on a mass level right now.
Sorry, I thought you were going to keep going. Do you think you can get peak consumption in a community? Like, do you think we've talked about community before and how that's one of the benefits of like the Bitcoin space? Can you reach that type of metric, or can you even move that over when you're thinking of like the amount of people that you meet?
Can I move it over?
Yeah, the concept of peak consumption over into a community.
Well, funny enough, I'm not sure I'm answering your question, but when I say we're at peak consumption, I mean we're at peak consumption for physical things. Funny enough, I think we have a peak deficit of knowledge, understanding, and the ability to understand. In fact, we may have a shortage of an interest in understanding. So it's I've not thought about it that way, but for me, the most valuable things we have as humans, we have a shortage of. And the things that we have the least amount of value, which are physical things, we have a surplus of all over the world. And I think all over the world, really.
That's kind of a scary idea because it should be the inverse. You would think I would want the inverse of that, would I not?
Well, if we had the inverse, we probably wouldn't be at peak demand on stupid shit. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
See, that's the problem. So it's not the consumption. It's that we have a shortage of knowledge, of understanding. This 21st century, okay? When I say that, people should be freaked out, man. Okay? Like I'm no one, but I'm sitting here going, hey, look, we pretty much don't have anything of value, and we have too much of everything that is of no value or little value that can be replicated, copied, and made up. Yet, how many people are really comfortable? I mean, I just spoke to a guy that's got maybe, I don't know, well over $1 billion, and he's miserable. He's a little like he doesn't know what to do, right? And this is a weird world right now. So yeah, I think if we spent more time understanding things and being understandable, yeah, we would be in a better place, and we probably buy a lot less shit.
It's funny.
I don't know how to fix that, but the first thing you do
Yeah.
is you start talking about it, right? The first thing you do is just go, hey, do we have peak goodness and peak understanding and peak education and peak IQ and peak emotional intelligence and peak charity and peak leadership and peak I'm a good leader or I'm a good boss? No, we don't have any of that peak. It's all at the bottom of the barrel. Do we have peak politicians, peak policemen?
See, I wonder if you can get to peak information, because I feel like now we're inundated with so much information, but we're just getting started, because the whole next iteration, I guess, of AI and artificial intelligence is analyzing just data. I wonder if you can even get peak data, because data almost seems like it's infinite.
Yeah, see, I don't really care about peak data. I think we have way, way, way too much invaluable data. I think we go back to we have a shortage of great understanding. That means we have a shortage of either accurate information and teaching, or we, as a human species in America, we have lost the ability to learn anything.
Shortage
pick
of
one.
wisdom.
Pick one, dude. We might have too much information. Now, I am most certain that the information that comes out of Facebook and many of these other social media sites, 3/4 of it is absolute trash. Okay, absolute trash. If not absolute propaganda, lies, misinformation. That is not the kind of peak anything we need. We still have a shortage of authentic. You know what I bet, dude? I bet I could have 8 million followers and be known for only one thing, and that is this is the most authentic motherfucker on the internet. I think I could actually get an award. Hey, this cat is the most authentic guy on the internet. He's going to tell you the truth, even if it makes him look bad. I don't care anymore. Right? I would just like to know what the bloody truth is. I don't care if you masturbate 3 times a day, or if you've been incapable of having a fucking marriage, or you were a bad dad 30 years ago, or you don't know how to manage your finances, or you made a mistake. Dude, we all have made mistakes. And just to get honest about how difficult it is to figure out how to live this life with freedom and prosperity, it is a full-time job. And I understand why people are like angry at other people, because they're confused, man. Like if I was 20 years old today, dude, I don't know if I could make it. I mean, I feel very lucky that I had a good mom, a good dad. I grew up in a period that I grew up in because I'm not sure that I would survive this thing. This is riddled with landmines. Even if you do well, you can have it all taken from you. Because I can do well, like Ryan Selkis from Masari. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like I've been trying to get a
he's
hold
gone full political.
Ryan, if you hear this, dude, I love what you're doing. Dude. Do not let your shareholders fucking do this to you, okay? They're wrong. They're wokey. We need more CEOs going, nope, not right. I think the guy's running. Now, I think he stepped aside here, but I take my hat off to you. I wouldn't put up with 1 second of regret over that. I have had this done in 2 companies before, and I'll tell you, when one of your partners is willing to fuck the rest of the government, the rest of the people in this planet, when they know some of these people are playing by a whole different set of rules, and that you're not willing to say it. This is what happened to me in my last business, man. I was starting to bitch about, hey, this is uncool. Visa. This is uncool, FTC. This is uncool, whoever's writing all these AML, KYC rules. This isn't protection, dude. You guys are harvesting information and like you're literally abusing consumers, right? Through all these tools of safety. And she went nuts, dude. She's like, dude, you're going to cost us a shitload of money. I'm like, wow. So it's money you're here for. It's not to do the right thing. Like I'm here to do the right thing. Dude, I could have made $20 billion stealing money from people, getting involved with cartels and doing some really nasty shit, but I didn't. And I ain't going to do it now. But I think we just all have to really, you can't expect me and Ryan Selkis and Donald Trump to carry this. Like there's only going to be so many people that go, fuck off, come, let's party, dude. Let's have a battle over this. You guys have to be willing to stand up and take some of the bullets, right? You have to, because I'm probably going to be sidelined. The only reason I'm doing this is so the audience gets so big that when I'm sidelined, you start writing your senators and congressmen and Facebook and Twitter and then go pull up anything I said wrong. I literally sat in a deposition over something that happened 7 years ago, dude, and they pulled up videos 3 months ago. These people are watching me. I guarantee you, stuck a video up. First question they asked has nothing to, this deposition had nothing to do with Bitcoin. And she said, Mr. Cardone, I understand you are deeply, deeply involved in the Bitcoin industry. This was the first question over something that had to do with a business that had never mentioned the word Bitcoin. Now, my response was, what does deeply mean? What a stupid question by a lawyer, deeply. You never ask a question that has no definition whatsoever. So we spent 15 minutes discussing deeply. 7 hours. See, my job is just to eat up the clock, man.
Yeah.
And
15 minutes to define a word.
I totally do. She said, are you a thought leader? I said, what does that have to do with anything? And then she said, are you angry at Visa and MasterCard? What is that? How? When do I get moved from like to anger? Can you define what that means? And then, of course, you look at her and go, what does Bitcoin have to do with this case? Well, what do my emotions have to do with anything? So these are idiots, dude. Like, I'm not picking on her. I'm just observing something. I see this every day. Okay, I see people ask me questions and they should have just kept their mouth shut because they don't even understand the fundamentals of, I saw people at Bitcoin conference the other day. They've been in this industry 5 years. Total parasites. Total unadulterated parasites slamming their way in on the corners, on the edges. And it's like, oh, doing it this way, you could just be so clean and make so much money. People like me aren't going to touch these people, dude. They're not even going to touch them. So, yeah, TJ or whoever, I literally looked at the lawyer and went, wow, this feels more like a psychology session. An hour with a bad shrink. That's what I said. This feels more like an hour with bad shrink than a freaking deposition. Oh, I just want to slap. Just total woke, dude. No, really. Look, she's a thief to her client. That lady is a total thief to her client. She'll never recover a penny from us. We didn't do anything wrong. It's hilarious. That's not value, okay? When you live in a country and you can get dragged into a deposition, and hey, let's set it for 6 months from now. I get 6 months of legal bills. Dude. They set it out real long in the future, so they don't even have. So it just grinds you down day by day. I think we're spending $500,000 on that suit. Dude. They have one complainer, class action suit with RICO classification on it, and literally 0 case. And the judge will allow this process to happen because the system is so distorted. The system is set up for hourly billing. Just hourly.
Yeah.
Chickadee D. Over and over again.
You think Bitcoin will help solve that? I don't know if Bitcoin can help solve our legal and judicial system, can it?
No. Yeah, I'll tell you though, I think a president could solve it. Someone passing policy that says, our legal system is really cool, but we're going to have a new policy. And that is if you bring a lawsuit against someone, like I am all over this, if you bring a lawsuit against someone and you lose it, you're going to pay all the damn fees. That would literally stop half the damn litigation tomorrow morning, and it would end up in, hey, let's settle this right now. Okay. Like I've had a little trick since I've been in business, and that is every one of my contracts, everybody wants to say, well, we're doing this in Florida. We're doing this in Washington. My deal is you sue me, you do it in my land. I sue you, I do it in your neighborhood. Now, why would I do that? Because it slows down me wanting to sue someone. I never sue anyone. It's stupid. But if someone sues me, come do it in my backyard, dude. You're going to have to travel, have your lawyers come here. Now, that's a whole different experience, right?
Yeah.
But when you can file a lawsuit against a small little guy and you're in Missouri, St. Louis, you're MasterCard. Hey, dude, it's all going to take place here. MasterCard owns the entire system. So what, you're going to go into a MasterCard's neighborhood and fight a fucking case? No way. I've never had, and that stopped me from having a lawsuit. It's hilarious. And I don't like arbitration. I hate arbitration. I want to go into the courtroom very quickly. Hey, you guys make a decision. Who's right? Who's wrong? And the sad thing is you shouldn't even ever need to end up there. I have literally never ended up in court until this last experience. Once this is all behind me, watch, I'll never have another legal case again. I'll never have another legal case. Now, they might come knock my door down because they don't like my politics, but, and that could happen. If we don't take some serious action in the next 4 months, I could go to prison. Like it is not out of the realm of possibility that I could live. I could be challenged. My belief in my freedom could be challenged. I think all of our freedoms are being challenged right now, but it's not Gary's going to jail yet. They did try to stick some shit in my body 4 years ago, by the way. And half my friends didn't like me because I didn't take it. So the damage that's been done to the community already is pretty substantial. And by the way, that's the big threat to these assholes. Okay, what's the threat to any cartel? That everybody just says no, and they all grab their rakes and their shovels and their pitchforks and say, fuck off, man. That's why we're building this, right? So like I'd like 10,000 people in here, dude. You get 10,000 people in here, people are going to think twice about fucking with you.
That's the power of community. I mean, that's
something it is,
that,
man.
we talk about
Power
a lot.
of an army. It's the power of an army. And that's why I think what we're getting ready to do in a week or two on the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, I've been wanting to do this a long time. This is going to be really boring. But you know what? I bet I would make a D. I sent out a survey and said, hey, how do you rate yourself knowledge of Constitution and Bill of Rights? 23% said they were A. I don't even think that's true. I don't think you could find 23 out of 100 people that A, that could recite the Bill of Rights and the Constitution without looking at it. Another 25 went B, C, D, and E. That means that less than 50% of the people classify their knowledge of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights above 50%. Wow. Right?
You know, it's
Two
funny
most
now.
important documents, not a license, not a contract, two most important documents. I don't know the last time I even read one.
What's funny now is I probably have, I think, 5 attorneys now on the list who are really fun to schedule and get a hold of. But now those same attorneys, by the way, are telling me, oh, by the way, are you making sure you're getting attorneys with the right perspective on the Constitution? I'm like, well, what do you mean by that? It's like, oh, people will bring their bias in and interpret the Constitution however you want it. Like, even if they're a constitutional attorney, they go, oh, yeah. So now what will be interesting about when we start having these Bill of Rights Constitution conversations is depending on the attorney, they might have completely different interpretations, which just makes our world a lot more complicated, which is why, I mean, this is what these people do, right? I get it. These are the people arguing in front of the Supreme Court what 2 or 3 words in the Constitution mean.
Yeah, well, we may need to have that 100-year conversation, dude. It may be time to sit down and go, hey, what does it mean? If there's so much grayness, why don't we get some clarity? By the way, none of that was set up for digital world. Okay, yeah. I'm pretty sure none of these guys were thinking that we were going to be, you know, I could literally run a conference call, do this Zoom call, and do emails all at the same time while I'm trading hundreds of millions of dollars worth of fucking assets. I don't think anybody understood how well, you know, technology was going to change the world. We got 1933 regulatory SEC documents on how corporations and entities are set up. That's so old, it's ridiculous. We have 2 regulatory agencies, the FTC and the SEC, that claim that LLCs are shell companies. I've been through this for the last 3 years. I'm like, huh? Are LLCs legal? Yeah. Mr. Cardone, how many shell companies do you own? None. How many LLCs do you own? 17. Well, you own 17 shell companies. No, I don't. What are you talking about? Shell company.
What are they saying a shell company is?
Shell company is anything that's just sitting there doing nothing. And none of these LLCs do nothing. They're there for a legal purpose, period.
Yeah, how can you say a company does nothing? I don't understand.
Well, see, this is the problem with definitions. They're literally now changing the definitions, going, these are shell companies. And, you know, I'll bet you ExxonMobil has maybe 10,000 LLCs. And if that's a shell company, all right, that's cool. None of this is enforceable, dude. They're making this stuff up, okay, as they go, because the legal terminology today is like really not robust enough to cover some of the activities we do. For instance, we had a big argument that microtransactions. I'm like, what's a microtransaction? There's no definition. They just make it up, right? And I refused for like 6 months to not to discuss it, but to agree to it, because I'm like, you guys clearly have no idea what's getting ready to happen in digital. We're getting ready to have trillions of 10-cent transactions, and Visa isn't going to get any of it. You can't charge 35 cents Visa for a 10-cent transaction. See, this is when the plumbing of the financial kind of fiat world is just going to crumble, dude. They're just not used to dealing with the volume or the microness. They don't even understand. They're going to think it's a credit card way to get around credit card transactions. And their tools for watching and reporting and tracking this would be like having a tape measure to figure out the speed of a meteor. Dude. I mean, literally, that it is so antiquated that all they're going to do is waste a bunch of legal money unless we actually set up. This is why I'm really excited about setting up a digital bill of rights, kind of e-commerce future. They should have done this with e-com. They didn't. They continue to try to use the old point of sale rules and construct as the same exact measurements by which somebody's transacting online. The metrics and the characteristics of these transactions are massively different. In fact, this lady asked me in this deposition, she said, look, you have a client right here. He's at 2.12%, which the rule is 1%. Okay. Like you're supposed, it doesn't matter what it's about, but he's at 2.2. Isn't this guy breaching? I'm like, how did he get past 1.1? Dude? If there's a rule on 1, how the fuck is he sitting at 2.1? And how did Facebook get to 8? If it's 1, it stops at 1. You guys are idiots. You guys are idiots. You don't have accurate data. None of the data is accurate. None of it's real time. It's all 30 to 100 days later. But if you have a rule that says, hey, you can't go past 1, how the hell can you get to 2? Just shut them down. Shut them down. But they would shut, you know what? They would shut down every merchant on the planet, dude, including Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, everybody would get shut down. And no one is below 1%. It's a complete lie. And as the transaction volumes go up, this is what happens when markets turn into like fractions and derivatives. The volumes explode. And the legacy players are so scared of the margin collapse, they forget the volume explosion. And they want to block everything. So the good news is their hesitancy, their reticence to change offers opportunities for people like you and me.
That wasn't that exactly what your previous company was based off of?
That's it, dude. That made $70 million a year because somebody wasn't willing to fix a problem 15 years ago. That popped up 15 years ago. The amount of people that could make $1 billion from the credit card industry is staggering. That it took an outsider like me to go, oh, wow, this is a clearinghouse opportunity, man. I can clear every chargeback and read it. Literally, I looked at Visa, MasterCard, said, hey, within 1 year, if you agree to a construct that I'm trying to show you, I can reduce 600 million chargebacks a year in the first year by 1/2. And we can reduce the 62,000 people in the credit card industry that are touching chargebacks, adding zero value. We can reduce that to 600 people. Save $6 billion a year, redeploy those 62,000 people in the system where they're better needed, and reduce 1/2, 300 million chargeback disputes a year just in America. That's a monster reduction. And it's billions and billions of dollars before the savings on the redundant 62,000 people who are literally just doing ping pongs. Chase files a chargeback against Chase. Citi files a chargeback against Citi. Bank of America files a chargeback against Bank of America acquiring, and it goes on and on, and everybody gets a bonus for it. Reminds me of Enron and Dynegy. I'd sell $20 million worth of energy to $200 million worth of energy to Enron. They would go to Arthur Andersen, mark $20 million of profit. I would go to Arthur Andersen and say, hey, I sell $200 million to Enron, and it's a $20 million profit. They would mark us both as profits. Oops. On the same freaking transaction. And if anybody understands trading, it's a zero-sum game. There's going to be a loser and winner. Period. Black and white, 1 and 0. But we got to both make 20 million. All of a sudden, there's $40 million worth of revenue in the system that's not real.
Wow. What an interesting problem and an interesting solution, especially after our topic of peak consumption.
Yeah.
Well, we got 4 minutes left. I mean, how do you want to close this off? You got any closing comments on kind of what we talked about today?
Well, it's kind of funny. We haven't even talked about Bitcoin pricing. It's getting slaughtered. I say slaughtered. It's at 63.
For any reason or just?
More sellers than buyers. Right?
Yeah.
That's always the answer.
The usual.
I'll tell you, I think the reason why is whatever size the historical Bitcoin market is and all the Bitcoiners, they are tapped out. Everybody that's in crypto is fully deployed.
Like they don't have any more capital left.
Well, hey, same thing, dude. I've deployed moved a lot of capital around into Bitcoin. There comes a time when, okay, look, I need cash for taxes. I can't, you just tap out, right? You're like, okay, I'm done now. I got to wait for either new funds to come in, or you sell something, or you just wait and the price changes. I think that Wall Street has figured out that the insiders can't protect Bitcoin from $6,000 and $8,000 movements, so they're moving it around, and they're making big fat margins. And by the way, it didn't cost any of us anything. Y'all keep focusing on these people like they're the bad guy. Fuck, it doesn't hurt me, dude. For them to take it to 69 and drive it to 63, I would be doing that shit to you right now. There's not enough there's not enough existing buyers. We have all blown our wad. And so these peeps going to come in and go, dude, they're listening to these shows. Don't think they're not listening to the shows and getting a sense of your commitment. And now more and more of you are coming out of the woodwork. They're going to push this market around. I told everyone they were going to get smashed a year and a half ago, dude. These people have balance sheets that are staggering. I mean, a guy like me, okay, and sitting on Wall Street, they would have literally given me $2 or $3 billion for probably a month to move around. $3 billion, and like if I can make 3 or 4% on that every month, God damn, dude, it's a lot of money. And Bitcoin's a perfect instrument for it. 24/7. On the weekends, I get to move the market even more because it's so thin. So I think that's what's happening. I do not think we're going to see below 50, below 60,000. We might, but I think you're going to look back at this and go, my God. Somebody reminded me last night. They were like, Gary, 8 months ago, you were like deploying into 37,000, telling people like you're nuts if you think this run's over. And here we are. 63. I haven't thought of 37 in at least 8 months, dude. I forgot about those 37s I was buying. In fact, I think it was right before you joined. And I did a video with somebody. It might have been you, actually. And I said, dude, I have to get off the phone. I have to call the bank and start moving funds. And it was literally at 37, and I just plowed into that motherfucker. And then I called Scott Melker. I tweaked Scott Melker, my friend who lives in Florida, who's the Wolf of Wall Street, that he runs a big show. I said, but this thing's getting ready to absolutely rip your face off. And I mean, 10 hours later, dude, it was $8,000 up. So this is going to happen. I think it's going to happen in the next 2 or 3 months, next month, tomorrow morning, whatever. But it is massively setting up. But I think that's what's happening, is that we just there isn't any more fuel for people to put into Bitcoin until the big boys come to the market, and the big boys know it. So they're pressing the price down. They're getting their clients maybe a little, either the trading look, somebody made $3,000, okay, on 1,000 units. On 1,000 units. That's a good day. That's $3 million. As long as that volume's around, this doesn't happen in any other markets. You can't do this in nat gas and crude oil. Okay, first off, crude oil trade is probably, I can't even remember the minimum crude oil trade, but like you can buy half a Bitcoin or 1,000 Bitcoin in a whack. $50 billion a day. $50 billion a day is trading in Bitcoin. That is serious money now. And there won't be thousands of players. You guys understand that? Somebody's swinging some weight, man. And this is just a thin market. And that I think that is absolutely what's happening. It is you have a market that's no longer being defended, and you have a lot of money coming in. The good news is most of it wants in over a long period of time. And between now and when they execute, which I think is September, October, November, we're going to have this. And we're going to have this kind of volatility for probably 18 months, 2 years, if not more.
Yeah.
Can I just go through a couple of these comments? Because I think some of them are interesting, unless I have something else to do at one. Do I?
No, I got to get ready to move your desk and office around, though.
Okay. Just give me a second. And you can pop out if you want. But let's see. Just a couple of these. Are we talking about your Bitcoin prediction day? I don't make daily predictions. I don't really care what it does today. Without lowering the power, mining will continue to become hard, more and more centralized. Yeah, I think you guys are just going to have to get used to that. Mining's going to be in the hands of the guy that's got zero cost energy, and that's probably going to mean consolidation. But it's going to have a lot of game theory, so I don't know why people are worried about it. I think Bitcoin can do anything. I think it'll be able to deal with everything. You guys are not helping with my Bitcoin mine virus, only making my condition worse. Not sure what that means. Now that Trump is absolutely blowing it and likely to lose Kamala. Hey, let me just talk about this for a second. I saw the interview that Trump did with this black woman, and I got to tell you, okay, I would have slapped her down like a little teenage punk that she is. Okay. I thought Trump was behaving like a grandfather should behave. And probably he should have gone and talked to his parents, her parents, or his parents, and asked them what they didn't do. But she was so rude, not nice. I thought the guy held his cool pretty well. So I didn't see anything degrading there at all. If you guys that are black are going to get all nervous about that, I've been called a dago, a wop, a piece of shit, a coon ass, an idiot, an ignoramus my whole life. Okay. Like, what is wrong with you people? Like that little girl can get in front of a camera, can then be rude. She was, and I call her a little girl. Okay. Be that rude. I personally think she deserved a spanking. And if I was her parents, I would have given her a spanking right there in public. Anyway, that's my rant for the day. Ryan Selkis at Missouri, you're my hero right now, dude. Anything I can do to help you. I know you're getting a lot of shit right now, bro. You probably lost some money through all this. Anything I can do to help you, let me know. If you guys are on the right side of having peace, not war, and that you want to educate America and you want us to be better, stronger, faster, count me in. I'm a good resource. Would love to work and help with you, whether it's in this country or another country, but I will help to bring freedom to anyone. We need millions and millions and millions of people on this bandwagon, talking, chatting, building a community, because we're going to need each other in a big way. Love you guys. Thank you very much. Make sure that you do something really nice today for someone else, and don't mention it to anyone. It's an awesome, awesome life hack. I try to do it every day. I forget, but by me reminding you, I am reminding myself. If we have 1,300 people here. Imagine if 1,300 people call their mom, call their dad, do something nice for the the lawnmower guy or the gasoline attendant. Do something nice. Be anonymous about it. Imagine how cool the world would be. So really appreciate you guys. I'm going to shut down now. I've got lots to do before the weekend. You guys have a great one. If you got any excess cash, it's $63,000 in 6 months to 18 months is going to look extremely cheap. Love you guys. Thank you very much. Ciao.